In the news this week, the fake WA police letter of support caught circulating online. How to trust what news you're reading.
Right to die. Voluntary euthanasia laws begin parliamentary debate as the state government pushes for support.
Beach patrols to begin today as spring approaches Western Australia.
I'm going to in Hong Kong as protesters took to the street for the 13th week, despite the police ban to the rally. I'll have a full report coming up.
And 40 years of weather reports, Neil Bennett celebrates a major milestone informing Western Australians. A special interview on WP, that's coming up.
This is the Evening News.
Good evening. As demonstrations in Hong Kong reach their 13th week, a fake support letter pretending to be WA police has been circulating this week.
Spread overnight from Chinese social media pages, officials state this letter is not from the WA Police Force. We got the exclusive story and racked up close to 900 shares in 24 hours after our story was published. Helene Fung explores this issue further.
The fake letter, supposedly written by a former WA police officer, shows tremendous support for Hong Kong police. Signed from your brothers and sisters in Western Australian Police, past and present, the letter also has two WA police shoulder badges on either side, with the Chinese characters reading, Go Hong Kong Police. In a statement from the WA Police, they confirmed that this letter was sent without the knowledge, consent or authority of the agency. They also further detailed that it is not common practice for WA police officers to comment on political matters, especially those occurring outside its jurisdiction.
So the work that you have to put into establishing truth is a little bit harder. But there will always be people trying to tell lies, and there will always be gullible people who will believe them.
Adjunct Senior Lecturer at ECU, Dr. Kate Davies, believes fake news is too easily distributed. But as consumers of news, we need skepticism to ensure quality and trustworthiness of what we're reading.
I think one of the big problems we have in our politics at the moment that affects what people believe is that people will latch onto a political party and they will decide that that is the party that is like their team, like their sports team, and they'll cheer for it no matter what it says. And they will give it heaps of credibility even when what it's saying is not necessarily true. And to bring it back to Hong Kong, I think that this is some of what's happening there, that people have chosen a side. They're either pro-police or pro-protesters, and they're very prepared to believe whatever supports those beliefs.
Helene Fong, WAMN News.
Debate has begun into WA's voluntary assisted dying legislation, with the state government urging members of parliament to back the controversial laws. As the issues are being examined, including effects to youth, there are questions if it will be fully backed in the upper house. Nelson Liu reports.
A call for a compassionate end to life.
We need to stare it in the face and have an honest conversation.
Debate has begun into voluntary assisted dying laws, Premier Mark McGowan urging support.
It is not a choice between life and death. It's a choice about the manner in which death will occur.
The Premier outlined his backing of the laws as he spoke about the tragedy of those turning to suicide to end their suffering.
How many more West Australians need to witness their loved ones suffer without relief?
Members of both sides of politics have already backed the legislation. With debate around the legislation raging on in Parliament, it's expected the laws will easily pass the lower house, but there are concerns that may offer some resistance. Labor's Margaret Quirk has opposed it, claiming those against it didn't lack compassion, while opposition leader Lisa Harvey remains undecided.
I have, as most people know, been through the difficult, sad and traumatic experience.
If the laws are passed, WA will become the second state to legalise euthanasia after Victoria. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
With spring just beginning today, the McGowan government's strategy to keep beachgoers safe will see 2 helicopter patrols covering the Perth metropolitan area and the southwest region. $2.8 million has been committed to these patrols in a partnership with Surf Lifesaving WA. For the first month, the helicopters will patrol every weekend, with surveillance increasing to daily from October through to April next year. Fisheries Minister Dave Kelly said the helicopters and patrols provide maximum coverage during peak periods.
So we're making sure that whether you're in the metropolitan area or in the southwest, our beaches are as safe as they possibly can be. The southwest is a very popular part of the state, especially over summer, and so we've made the commitment that from this summer the aerial patrols in the southwest and the metropolitan area will cover the same period. We'll see how that goes, but I think it'll be very well received in the southwest.
3 political activists in Hong Kong have been arrested this week after another wave of demonstration in the city. Activist Joshua Wong and his colleagues have been released on bail as the conflict marked its 13th week since the controversial deportation bill sparking international attention. Gordon Choi reports from Hong Kong.
The swift arrest of pro-democracy activists and lawmakers have failed to deter another wave of demonstrations which happened on Saturday. The demonstrations turned to one track in the evening, with some protesters scattered in Causeway Bay during heavy downpour. Protesters threw bricks, at the same time setting fire to debris to create roadblocks. The situation was very tense indeed, with protesters firing petrol bombs and police retaliated with water cannons and tear gas. As you can see here, live rounds and pepper balls are found here in Causeway Bay. In late hours, more chaos happened at the subway station in Mong Kok. Many were injured as riot police were seen beating citizens and passengers on live television. Protests in this special administrative region of China have persisted over the past 13 weeks, initially over a controversial extradition bill, but increasingly also about alleged police brutality and calls for universal suffrage. Gordon Choi, WAMN News, Hong Kong.
Arson squad detectives are investigating a suspicious fire after a bin was set alight on a vacant Midland property on Monday afternoon. Damages are estimated at $250,000.
DFS has received a call out at 3:40 p.m. It's understood the blaze occurred at rubbish bins located at the veranda. The fire then spread onto the rooftop through the patio. Police and Western Power were also on the scene. Rewards up to $50,000 are available for information that leads to apprehension and subsequent conviction of an arsonist. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers. A Sri Lankan family has been temporarily saved from deportation from Australia with an extended court injunction allowing them to stay until 4th of September. The couple were held in a Melbourne detention centre since March 2018, having been taken from their home in Queensland when their temporary bridging visa ran out. The High Court denied their final bid to stay in Australia. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton supports their deportation and said they are not owed protection from our country. Meanwhile, Sally Thompson from the Refugee Rights Action Network fears the family will be in danger if sent back to Sri Lanka.
This family really do represent a case where he could use his discretion. 200,000 Australians have signed a petition asking for the family to stay, so public interest has really been met here.
WA police are hunting 3 men who burgled a home in November last year. The men broke into the home on Boulevard Drive between 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m, ransacking it, stealing a sum of cash and other property. Police would like to speak to the men pictured or anyone who can identify them and anyone with information.
WA kids were given the opportunity to pick their favourite show bags for this year's Perth Royal Show beginning on the 28th of September 2019. Meanwhile, Consumer Protection WA has given its seal of approval to 270 show bags after 1,500 toys and novelty items were checked by product safety inspectors. The department was looking for strangulation hazards, dangerous sharp edges and projectile toys to avoid children from being injured. Parents are urged not to buy products that haven't been checked.
Today, much to our delight, seriously ill kids here at Ronald McDonald House will get to enjoy all of these show bags knowing that the products are safe. Fantastic outcome this year and we're thrilled to be here.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest on our website and Facebook page.
Until next Sunday after 8, thanks for watching, thanks for calling in, good evening.
Good night.